Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Bloom Outdoors. So if you guys can't already tell by the title of the video what we are doing today, you can see we are installing the vertex coilovers, the struts at least. I already did the shocks probably a month or two ago. I ordered these struts the same time I ordered the shocks. The shocks showed up within like 2 days or something. I ordered them directly off of Rough Country. I will tell you guys, these things are great. They perform awesome, way better than the V2s that were on there before. I don't know if I mentioned it in the video when I installed these, but I would say probably the V2s ride at like a 4, maybe a 6. I forget. It was either like a 6 or a 4 that I said to myself on the first day. I forget, but it was very high up there. It wasn't all the way to 8, but I'll tell you guys, this rides way smoother when it's on like 1. That's what I'm running it on right now. It's just super smooth with it like that. So the shocks rode about like a 6 did if you were to turn this, because it's 8-stage adjustable. So they rode about like how it was on a 6. Keep in mind, 1 is the softest ride, 8 is the stiffest ride or firmest ride. And then as you can tell in the fronts here, we've got just the regular like new coilover, or just like the regular coilover. I forget the specific name Rough Country calls it, but there's no spacer or puck in there. It's an entire new coilover. But with this new one, we do have the entire new coilover again, but now we have the reservoirs, and we also have the same thing where it's fully adjustable. We have 8 stages. So I kind of already opened this one just to get it out of the package and show you guys what it looks like here. We do have the mounting bracket for this, and then we've also got the clamps in here so that this can get stuck onto there. And then we got the other one in this box, and then I also bought the spanner wrench, I believe is the name for it. So basically this is how we can adjust the height of what we want the coilover at, because you basically just spin this and then you spin this, and you can go up and down on these threads however you want. So as you can see, it ends right there. So just what it looks like. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to keep it at this height or not. I kind of want the front to go up a little bit, because right now I do rub just a little. You guys have seen some of my trimming videos that I've had to do with the truck. It's fine on like flat ground, but when you go on any kind of weird angle, weird bump, anything like that, it will rub. So I'm probably going to crank it up maybe a 1/2 inch or an inch, just so that I eliminate all of that. So I'm thinking if we just go up an inch or maybe even a 1/2 inch in the front, we should hopefully clear everything. So I ordered this stuff at the same time. I ordered the shocks, I ordered the new struts, I also ordered the spanner wrench, and then I also ordered the new upper control arms too. BDS upper control arms. That's those, just keeping them back here because I don't want them to get chipped up or anything on the tailgate, since I don't have the box anymore for that. So the shocks, the control arms, and the spanner wrench all came in right around the same time. It was all within like 2 to 5 days after I ordered them, but I haven't got the upper control arms on yet, because I've been waiting for the new struts to get here. It's been probably 2 or 2.5 months since I ordered them. Just kind of been waiting on them. I didn't want to take everything apart, get the new upper control arms on, just for, you know, a month or 2 later, have to take the whole thing back apart just to get the new struts on. So just kind of waiting to do all of that at the same time. So now we're at that point. This video probably will not be a ride quality video. It's just going to be kind of a me installing it video. But then the video, like probably right after this one, is going to be the full, like, how is the ride quality on it. We're going to go over all of that stuff. So if you don't care about just the install part, you can go ahead and skip this video. I don't really care. Just wait for the next one to come out when we do the actual ride quality stuff for the truck. But I will tell you guys, with that whole ride quality thing, it's not just going to be over the vertex system, because I am going to have the new upper control arms in the front. So it'll be with the vertex struts and shocks, but then also with the BDS upper control arms in the front. So that's kind of it with it, I guess. I probably really won't tell you guys much about the whole install. It's fairly easy. to do the struts. I'm sure most of you have done them before. If you haven't, it's super easy, kind of just nuts and bolts in the whole front end, taking everything apart and just slapping the new one in. It's really not that difficult. It should take maybe 4 hours max, and then I'll kind of be back with you guys, but I'll probably show you a couple clips here and there. But overall, it really shouldn't be too difficult. And I guess if you really want to know how to actually install them, just go check out some other videos. But I guess if there's anything very specific to this one right here, like this mounting plate, I'll show you guys. But overall, the whole concept of actually putting the strut in is going to be the same with, I mean, everything for this truck. It's a 2018 F-150. So the whole concept is the same, but just anything specifically for the vertex coilovers, then I will show you guys. Anyways, with that being said, that's all the parts we have. So just gonna kind of get into installing stuff, jack the truck up, take the tires off, get all that stuff done. And then if anything happens, I'll just get back to you guys. All right, guys, so here is the progress so far. Basically, I got this whole side taken apart and everything. Was kind of a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. Having a little bit of trouble. I was trying to watch some videos and stuff, and they were saying disconnect the CV axle, take that nut out. Well, then when I did that, it would want to slip out of here, and then I got a whole bunch of tension on, I think this is the ABS line that goes to the hub, and then on all these brake lines, and I had to disconnect all the bolts on the side of there. Got this knuckle kind of held up right there. Some of the stuff was pretty easy, like the bolt that held up onto the upper control arm on the bottom of that and onto the bottom of the tie rod here. That stuff was pretty easy because the truck is new enough to where nothing's really seized or rusty or anything like that. So that stuff came out fairly easy, but I don't know, biggest struggle was trying to kind of keep this stuff held up. I guess I totally could have just taken all of it off right away. But I don't know, in the video I was watching, trying to figure out how to kind of do this myself, then the guy didn't do it. He just let it hang off to the side. And for him, for some reason, it didn't look like there was this much tension. I guess it kind of makes sense because I would assume this is still the factory hub line. So with it being the 6-inch lift and you have all the drop down and everything, then you have like this right here, which is about 6 inches extra in here. So for him, he had an extra like 6 inches of play in this line. If that was the case, at least, I'm not sure if this is some kind of extension that's added in here or what. But for me, that was super tight, super hard to mess with. Also, I hope I didn't throw my steering off because when I was trying to crank on the bottom of the tie rod thing, it was turning a little bit. And then the wheel on the other side, or the tire on the other side, I guess, is cranked out. So hopefully I didn't mess that up. I'm probably gonna have to go get it aligned anyways though. Yeah, probably, because I'm putting on the new upper control arm anyways, and I'm pretty sure you're supposed to mark stuff and I didn't do that. So I'll probably have to, why didn't I think about that before? Man, I'm stupid. Okay, well, yeah, okay. Well, that's fun. Gonna have to go get this thing aligned sometime then. Not sure when I'm gonna do that. Hopefully soon. Got the old strut here taken off, or yeah, I don't know, the old one or whatever you want to call it. It's still technically new, I guess. Apparently they have the N3 shocks in this, it's called a lifted strut. That's the name for it. I guess I didn't know they put the N3 shocks in like the strut assembly here. Yes, you can note I did break off one of these, so I guess they won't be for sale. I mean, they can be, but you're only gonna get 2 out of the 3 bolts on the top of there. I just cranked it the wrong way on accident without even realizing it. It was like backwards in my head because it was up on top. So I snapped that off, quite fun. I'm gonna go grab the new upper control arm and strut and we can kind of compare them side by side. So that way you guys can see the difference here. All right, so here is a little comparison of everything. So we have the factory upper control arms versus the BDS ones. On camera, it really doesn't look like a huge difference, but you can definitely tell in person, these are a lot thicker. I think this was, I wanna say 1.25 inch round tubing, but I'm not positive on that. This is just not even round tubing, it's just whatever. just a factory one, but also the weight difference is a lot more noticeable. This one's 5, maybe 10 pounds heavier. So there's our difference there. From what I think, at least, I believe they both have ball joints. This one should have a ball joint. I believe this one has the ball joint as well. I don't think it was any of the other like upgraded ones. So there's your comparison on that. And then here is your difference between the new Vertex coilover and the N3 coilover. So got them kind of laying next to each other here. You can see too, it does look like they're about the same length. So I think I'm gonna take that spanner wrench and maybe just go a 1/2 inch for now. I think later on then, if I want to adjust it, I will. But I'm just gonna turn this down just a couple threads. So that way this part sits maybe like right in here. So I'm gonna try and get that figured out with that whole spanner or whatever you call it, the adjustability wrench thing, because we have the ability to go all the way down to here, which I think makes it like right here, I think is when the lift sits at 6 inches in the front. Because if you guys remember from the video where I measured stuff, the front actually sat at 6.5 inches in the front. So then I'm guessing this would be your 6 inch mark. So right here is your 6.5 inches. And then like right here then is probably 7. So I might go to somewhere right in here. So then like 7.5, 8. So I think you can potentially go up to 8.5 inches in the front. But of course, none of this stuff is going to change the rear. So then the truck would be squatted. I don't want it to look like it's squatted. I just need a little bit more clearance. Alrighty guys, so it's actually the next day. Kind of ran into some big issues. Couldn't get a lot of stuff figured out. But eventually, here we have it. It's finally done. Some stuff did get a little messed up. Like you can see the stickers kind of messed up here. It was very hard, like one person trying to do all of this and hold that up. I had to shove it back up in there, and then that sticker kind of got ripped on the wheel well liner. So here's what this side looks like. We got the new upper control arms, the new struts in there. Same thing on this side as well. As you can see, same thing. That sticker kind of got messed up as in the way, and it was definitely a struggle. Basically, from what I remember where I left off, I had this whole side torn apart. So what happened on this side, the 2 nuts and the bolts that hold in the bottom of the strut there, it came with new ones. I don't know if you guys could see that before or not, but it came with new ones. The way the old ones were mounted in there was the actual bolt went in through the top. The nut was on the bottom. This one was different, and the bolt was through the bottom. Like that's how it came to me in the box. And something was off with the angles and everything on the bottom of it. I just couldn't get it to line up for some reason. So I had to just put it in the way that it came. That was with the bolt up and the nut on top. I didn't want to put it in that way just because I didn't find it that way. I found it the other way, and to me it makes more sense to have the bolt go in through the top, but for some reason that's how they had it set up. So, and I couldn't get it to fit in the other way. Just the angles didn't line up, so I had to put it in the other way. And then also the upper control arm was an absolute pain to try and get back into that steering knuckle. For some reason, it just would not want to line up. So eventually I had to have some people come over and help me get that shoved back in there. I literally couldn't get it myself. It took a lot of force to push that thing in, maneuver it around and get it shoved up in there. So that was pretty difficult. So then kind of at that point, I was just like, screw it. I was so exhausted and tired. I was kind of just done filming for the day. So then this whole side's back together. As you can see what it looks like, I am running it on 1 right now. It runs pretty good. It does need an alignment because the upper control arms I think are off. So the tire's not riding perfectly smooth and flat on the ground because it does feel a little bumpy. I did take it for like a test drive then, and I put it on 8, and you can definitely notice a difference. But also, like I said though, with it on 1, that is what the front struts and the shocks are on right now. It does drive very good. But it does need an alignment because you can feel like the bumpiness in the tires. And I guess the tires are balanced properly too. It's just the alignment is off. You can feel it riding weird. This side's put together too. Like I said, the BDS sticker's kind of messed up. Drop a comment, let me know if I should just keep that on or if I should just go ahead and pull it off, just because it is messed up and kind of looks trashy. Then this side was kind of screwy too. Same thing where I couldn't get that bottom to line up with those two nuts and the bolts in the bottom there. I couldn't get those to line up, so again, just had to put them in through the bottom. Also, this side was very weird. For some reason, the top plate, you guys can kind of see that right up in there, that top plate on the strut. I don't know what happened, but for some reason, I think Rough Country put it on backwards, because the holes for the top was there's a hole here and then back there on that side and then one on the left side. That's how it was when I pulled the old one out, and that's how like it is in the top. But for some reason they must have put that top plate on wrong, and so pretty much what I had to do was take that top plate off, turn it 180 degrees so that this thing could fit in there. So again, that was a huge struggle that took a couple hours to do last night. Like I said, at that point I was just done. I didn't want to keep filming. It took a lot longer than it should have. Again, I don't think that's my fault. I think it's just kind of the lack of no instructions when you get the parts, but also it's just I haven't done it before, so it's kind of confusing. But again, also they messed up with some of the stuff too, so I wouldn't really blame BDS for anything, because I don't think anything was really their fault. I think it's more so the Rough Country fault, because they mounted the plate on the top wrong, and then no instructions with the bolts being like upside down, so all that stuff was kind of confusing. But in the end, I ended up getting it figured out. And so you probably aren't going to be able to see it, but up in the top somewhere on that plate, there's a like large Allen key size for how you get it in there to turn that plate around. It wasn't like a 3/8. It was bigger than a 3/8, smaller than a 1/2 inch. It was, I think it was like a 12 mil Allen key, but I literally didn't have anything that size. Had to run over to my neighbor's house. He had a 1/2 inch and like a 3/8 and stuff, but none of that fit. So what we had to do, this is a 1/2 inch Allen key, you can see right there. So took the grinder to it, had to make it just a little bit smaller to get it to fit in there. They also had that thing Loctited. So it took about 3 people holding the strut down and 2 people trying to turn that thing. So personally, I would probably say the old front struts, I guess, probably ride about this on like a 4 level. 8 being the firmest, 1 being the softest. It rides about like where a 4 does on this right now. Right now it's just set on 1. I don't have any big complaints or issues with that at all. With the rear shocks, I would say the V2s that were on there before, again, they probably rode about like a 4 would. So it's like not the best, but it's not the worst. There's a lot of bumpy roads around here, so I can go drive it on all those and I can really compare and feel the differences and everything like that. But I would say that everything rode about like, everything that I had on it before rode about like what a 4 does right now. But I will cover all that stuff more in the next video, because that's going to be more of the actual driving part of this. This is just kind of the getting it installed, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys what it all looks like. So it does ride pretty good. I'm going to wait to make the actual driving video until I can go in sometime soon, hopefully, and get this aligned, because like I said, it does ride just a little rough. I also wanted to note too, with the new coilovers in the front and the new control arms, I did take a measuring tape to it, and it does look like the front now does sit about 1 inch to 1.5 inches higher than the back. I also noticed that with my headlight beams too. Before they were just pointed a little bit down, and now they're actually pointed just a little bit up. So I did notice that last night when I was driving after I got all this done. And I really couldn't tell you why that is either, because before I even put the new struts in, I laid them down next to the old ones so I could figure out the height, so I could know if I needed to adjust them up and down at all. But they looked like the same height, but I tried to adjust it and I really just couldn't get it to work. So I figured I was just gonna wait until they're actually on the truck. That way they're bolted in and I have like some leverage against it, instead of it just like in between my legs or somebody else holding on to it or something like that, so it can slip. This way is more firm and tight, more like in place, so it's easier to be able to adjust it and move it. So I was gonna wait until that gets done, like until they get put in to adjust it, but then actually looking at it, and I measured it earlier this morning too, and it, like I said, it does sit about an inch higher in the front with the lifted struts. The front sits about 6.5 inches of lift. I would say now it sits about 7.5 inches of lift, maybe even like 7 3/4 up to 8 inches. You can also kind of tell the difference here too with the gap I have right here and back here for that matter. So so far, like I know pulling into the driveway here, I did rub a little bit when I would make a sharp turn. Now I can make that turn sharp and I don't rub at all. I did tell you I bought the spanner wrench. They must have sent me the wrong one on that too, because when I tried to line it up, it didn't fit. The thing was a little bit too small for the notches in there. So I guess that's another thing Rough Country messed up on, is they sent me the wrong spanner wrench, even though I typed in the right information and all that to get the proper one. Somehow they messed it up. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna end up adjusting these up or down or anything like that. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it, because like I said, I did want to adjust it about 1/2 inch to 1 inch higher. And as of right now, it does sit about 1.5 inches higher. So if anything, I might lower it. But for now, I think I'm just gonna leave it just so I don't have any rubbing issues. And then that way, if I end up getting a new wheel and tire setup, hopefully it'll clear just fine and we won't have any issues with that. But I don't want to lower it, and then if I do get the new wheels and tires, then have them rub and then have to go through the struggle of readjusting them back up or down. So I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. So technically the truck does have like 1 inch of squat. You can't really tell from like a side view here. You really can't tell. I can't really even tell in person. The biggest way I noticed was last night with my headlight beams. They were pointed up a little bit, and I know before they didn't do that at all. But I don't know, it could also just be the struts are new, so maybe they need to settle a little bit, and then they'll end up going down some. But as of right now, when they're pulled out of the box, then they are about 1 inch taller, so they're at about 7.5 inches. And as you can tell here, we have a lot of room for adjustment. So we can go up a lot, we can go down a lot, we can do a whole lot yet with it. So if we wanted to run it at like 9 inches, I'm sure that's possible. We could just adjust it to get basically this to go down. So we could run like a 9-inch lift if we wanted, but I don't want to do that. That's way too much squat. Otherwise I'd have to buy new rear lift blocks and go through a bunch of other stuff, but for now I don't want to do that. That's kind of gonna be it for this video. Like I said, it was just a quick kind of little, well, quick for you guys, not for me, like install of these, just so you can see how they look. And I could just give you a little brief explanation. Nothing too different about just installing regular struts on the truck, except for the couple of minor things I mentioned to you guys. That's pretty much gonna be it for the video. So drop a comment down below, let me know what you guys think about this new setup, the new struts, new shocks, all that stuff on the truck. Let me know what you guys think about it, but I think that's pretty much gonna be it for this video. So as always, thanks for watching another video of Bloom Outdoors. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.